just being loud.
Oh man. But yeah, I think we're good to start if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right. Well, ladies and gents, welcome back to Articulate. Today we have one Mr. Kevin Kelso. How you doing today, Kevin?
I am living, laughing, and dare I say, loving.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I wish I could be you,
Yeah.
like
Most people do. Oh,
All right. And we're off. Okay. All right. No, so I'm excited about this one because we've been planning to do this one for a while.
yeah.
And I know that this is like an actual passion of yours.
That's putting it lightly. But
yeah, I would say like a cornerstone of your personality.
Yeah, it's like definitely one of the main things. Probably the first or second thing I put on my dating profiles is
Yeah.
anime/manga. So.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you see the world as an anime.
Yeah.
You live, laugh, and love anime.
Yeah, I have been known to battle people.
Yeah.
So.
And run with your arms behind you. You're doing the Broad Street run with your arms behind your hands.
Pretty much 10 miles.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of shoulder strength, but it's worth it. Aerodynamics.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the best way to do it. The most efficient way to do it. But no, I mean, I do want to start this with like, I don't know too much about anime, but the way that you introduced me into it, I think was a good way to introduce most people into it.
Did I just show you Attack on Titan?
No, we started with Demon Slayer, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Demon Slayer I think it was a good one because it was pretty moderate. There was a lot of action, but it also had the good, the typical complex, background of characters and tragic stories.
Well, I think I
lot of
showed
good
you that
action.
one because it's like wholesome, but it also has like these really dark moments. And like at the very beginning, they really pull you in. I think that's really important to do to like a first time anime watcher is be like, look at the stakes. They're very high. There's blood and guts and this family has been slaughtered. Why? I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
That one's one of my favorites for sure. And I wanted to share it with you. So
Yeah, no, and it
You're
was
welcome.
good. I mean, for somebody who, like, I've honestly been pretty opposed to anime most of my life.
well, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are for some reason.
Absolutely.
Well, probably because people are they're anime pushing too hard sometimes.
Well, there is a stigma against it, like absolutely, and it's something that anime used to be really like kind of lame. I think people, especially when I was growing up, I like kind of was a little bit like in the closet about, if you can believe that,
Whoa.
in the closet about my love for anime. I just like I think people hear anime and they immediately go to tentacle porn,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is
It's a big
which
jump.
is valid. It's there. It exists. I've seen it.
Right.
But or like I don't know, they think like or they just think it's for sometimes it's
Like
for
children
girls
or,
or
yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
like but
Well, there are genres. It's one thing that I learned.
well
which was pretty
absolutely. I
cool.
mean it's just like any other genre like any other art platform. There's something for everybody.
Yeah. And so before we like jump too into, we can get into like the stigma and everything because
Yeah.
I know that's something you wanted to talk about. But before we get too far into that, I do want to talk about like the history of it a little bit, because there's like, I mean, obviously, it's a deep and broad art medium. Anime, like it originally came around like the same time as like the early Disney anime, like Snow White. I think was like the first
Absolutely.
feature length.
Yeah.
But they had to like compete with that, and
Mhm.
Disney was like the biggest production studio.
Yeah.
And had like all the production value and everything.
Mhm.
So they were going based off of like the kimono, the horizontal narration system on printed hand scrolls from like ancient Japanese like stories, and they were going off the keiji, which was like the shadow puppetry. If you've ever seen those.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I just remember I did go to I think it was Otakon a couple of years ago, and like one of the biggest anime that like took off first was definitely Astro Boy.
Yeah, that's one I had written. I didn't even know.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
because I watched that when I was like a kid.
Exactly, and you can totally see like in the eye shapes and like just the animation style, the influence of like early Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, it's there, and like even like Astro Boy's like head
the
shape.
little curl.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's definitely very influenced by Disney.
Yeah, very cute and cartoony.
Great.
You know what I mean? No, but I guess we could just. I mean, I'll weave this in if we need it to. But
Well, I also first want to give a disclaimer by saying I am but a white boy who lives in America. I have a deep appreciation for anime, but I'm by no means a Japanese historian.
right.
So, I mean, I'll give my takes on it, but
Yeah, well,
know what I mean.
definitely. I mean, and I think that's part of what makes this pretty interesting as a topic is because, again, it's like this is an art form that we're trying to really appreciate and
Yeah.
like have people understand and not like try to like take it over and like, really run it or anything like that.
Exactly.
But it's like just like appreciate other people's cultures. It's in the same sense as like I really think that people are accustomed to when they see like Parasite before it got any accolades. It's just like, oh, it's a subtitled movie from a different country. I don't want to watch that.
Oh yeah.
So like in a
Yeah,
similar
that.
sense, it's like a different culture's media that people just are naturally like, oh, I don't think I would like that based on previous shitty movies that I've seen that have had subtitles or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the directors of that movie, when they accepted that Oscar, they said like, so much gets opened up for you. The world opens up as soon as you can just read that little inch of print.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was such a powerful thing to say.
Yeah, that was. But one thing that you kind of brought up already was like the genres, and what's interesting about the anime genre or genres, the way they classify anime is it's not like I mean, yes, there's like action and like classical and like comedy,
Yeah.
but the genres are actually like like boy anime, like
Right.
girl anime, adult
Shonen
anime.
versus shoujo is what I know to be. And like it's very clear what's considered to be traditionally masculine and feminine anime. Very interesting to me.
Yeah, homo yao male and then yuri female.
Yeah, you're talking about yaoi and yuri.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yaoi, like I associate that with like that's like, oh my gosh, like I would go on fanfiction.net and like see these like pairings of like Naruto boys, and it's a yaoi fanfic. It's a gay fanfic with like Naruto and Sasuke.
That's funny.
And Yuri is like the lesbian version of that.
One, yeah, but that's weird. They make the genres based off of the target demographics. Which
Oh,
is,
for
like,
sure.
really interesting to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do understand what you meant. Like when and I think a lot of, I mean, when you're growing up, you don't know. Like it feels like some things are more unacceptable. So like even for me, I think bringing Weezer up around people, it feels like something that I should like keep inside and like hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah. You're like, actually, don't do that.
No, I think Weezer's acceptable.
Okay,
I can get
Weezer's
behind
fine.
that. I mean, there's other
More
things
or
that
less
you do,
than
but
anime.
I
I think it's the same
at
category.
least Americans know what that is. But like, it's a different thing to say now. Like, it's a different argument because these days I feel like there's so much anime influence out there that if you don't know what it is at this point, like you've been living under a rock, because some of the best pieces of media and like content, like I don't know, like music videos and like I don't know, even like Marvel universes have anime kind of esque things. You know what? I don't know if this is skipping ahead or whatever, but I think my main gateway drug into anime was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that is not an anime technically, because that
Technically.
was not created in Japan. I'm pretty sure is like the classification there, but it was so heavily influenced by anime, and you can totally see. And at that point, that was a jumping off point for me, because then I went into Naruto,
Right.
and Naruto does like the same kind of elemental manipulation and like
Right.
chakras and all that stuff, and you can see totally where these creators of Avatar got that from. And I just was so transfixed by that. I thought
Yeah.
it was so fascinating, and then it was even better when I found the origin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you got back to the
Yeah.
the roots. Well, so the key characteristics of anime, which actually they listed, which I thought was pretty cool, especially when it started out, was a lot of shows were just episodic. Every episode of a show was like starting from scratch.
Got it.
But anime characteristics always started out with like serialization. So, one episode would lead right into the next one.
Right.
There'd be a cliffhanger, right? There is also like thematic range, the suspension of time, which I thought was pretty like, oh yeah, that happens in every anime.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just
Flashback.
yeah, where it's just like you're in the middle of a fight and then you get the entire backstory of somebody. And also that's what I wanted to say too before is like, so you started out with Demon Slayer, and then you tried Naruto, and I did give it a shot, and it just like
It's just slow.
it's just really slow.
It has a
and
slow
there's a lot
pace.
of filler, right? And then we did Attack on Titan. And the first episode of Attack on Titan, I was like, this might be the best show that I've ever seen ever. Just like any show ever. I was like, this is insane.
I have seen that first episode so many freaking times,
Yeah.
because I always want to show people that. Even people that I know won't ever love anime, I'm like, I still want you to watch this.
Just the first one is
I just want you to watch this.
yeah.
Main character's mom get eaten real quick.
yeah, dark backgrounds.
I'm
just
really
like-
into darkness.
Yeah, but it is known for its complex, like backstories and timelines, and things like that.
Does it say anywhere in your notes that it has to be made in Japan? That's something that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, I mean, so that was there. There is the debate is really what it comes
Right.
down to, and even the newest movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, has a lot of backing from anime and
Yeah.
like, the styles in anime and everything like that. So it's kind of one of the things that I wanted to bring up was like, I mean, obviously, as someone that you're into anime, like, what is your take on? Because Avatar was what introduced you to it. So it's not like, Avatar was, in a sense, yes, it kind of stole a style from a culture, but it did it in a way that was respectful.
Absolutely.
I think most people, I think they knew, like, I don't know, personally for me, I know that it's not a real anime. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I don't want to get into like the nuances of it all, but like you can even see like in each element in that I guess cartoon or show. I'm just gonna say show. Has a kung fu style that is directly derived from some sort of Asian culture. Like Taekwondo was used for firebending, and Bagua has a lot of circular movements,
Right.
and that one is both used in Naruto and also used for the airbending,
Right.
and Tai Chi
Oh, wow.
for waterbending. So yeah, and just the cultures and the architecture of Avatar: The Last Airbender really harkens itself. It really does pay respect to just different cultures. So I think there is a fine line between appropriation and respect, but I think that definitely leans in the direction of respect for me.
I think that's honestly probably the best way to answer that question is like everything that that comes from actual Japan is like an actual anime, and anything that has that style should do it in a way that's respectful and trying to make homage to the style,
Sure.
as opposed to just like kind of making fun of it.
Though I will say that I have seen like Korean manga, but I don't know if it's called the same thing. That's it looks just like it, but it's just in Korean. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because over here, I think if it was in English, I think we'd just call it comics.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So you read the mangas and everything?
Yeah, like I started watching Naruto and I got all the way through the anime and I was just like, why is there all this extra bullshit happening?
Yeah.
I was just like, because they over there, anime and manga is probably one of their biggest exports, I would say. They have in their entertainment industry.
2019, Japan's anime industry was valued at 246 or 24 billion a year, with 40% coming from overseas.
That absolutely does not surprise me.
It's insane.
So Naruto was their #1 grossing anime for such a long time, and they had to just keep it going. They didn't want it to end, because once that ends, you lose this giant cash cow with such a massive fan base.
Yeah.
And so they just kept making this filler content, and I was just getting so like frustrated with that, but I didn't really know anything better. And then I found out that these anime is based off of comic books that they make beforehand, but the comics are called manga.
Right.
And so if you read the manga, you can pretty much spoil the anime for yourself.
Yeah.
And I am not a patient person. I never have been, probably never will be. So as soon as I found out about that, you best believe that I was going on Google and finding those the best way that I could. I think that was illegal at the time, but
Well, and that's one thing that I read is like the distribution used to be so hard to get things like actually approved to, be shown in America or anywhere else.
I mean, I even have been so desperate as to like find what they call the raw scans, where like they haven't put in English text. Like I'll just be like, I
that's another
gotta
thing.
know what's happening with my boy Naruto right now.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Is again, so the manga comes out like as a serialized like story. Right?
Yeah, it's usually some of them are once a week, and like Attack on Titan when it was coming out, it was once a month,
Once a month.
but it was like longer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they're usually more graphic. If
Yeah, for the most part. And then when you take Naruto from the Japanese version into the English version, it gets even less graphic.
Right.
It definitely undergoes many different steps of censorship.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and so like before the distribution became really easy over here, because now we could get into like how ways to access it now has become so much easier. But before
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll. But people would pirate it, and then they would like put their own subtitles on, and so it was like fan made subtitles for
absolutely.
everything. And there was never like actual like approved subtitles.
Yeah, and it's really like, and you'll get a different story depending on like whose subtitles you're reading for sure. Like,
right.
Different people contextualize it in different ways.
Yeah. So now we have Crunchyroll. I don't know when that came around. I think like 2016.
I couldn't
maybe?
tell you.
Yeah, but it is a better way.
I'm glad it's there.
a
It's on
streaming
Netflix and
service.
Hulu now too.
Yeah, I just watched One Punch Man. An amazing show. That's amazing. I love
That one is definitely one of the greats as well.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous.
It's so insane, and it makes fun of anime, but it's from Japan.
Yeah,
So
I
it's okay
definitely
for them
feel
to
like we're
make fun
moving
of it.
into a meta period of of anime where they're like, okay, we've had these like very wholesome, straightforward anime such as Naruto, and now let's make fun of that.
Right.
Let's make fun of that a lot.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, America does the same shit, so.
Yeah, true. But one of the debates that you said was kind of big was the debate versus subtitles and
Subbed versus dubbed.
Subbed versus dubbed.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. In Japan, anime manga is their main export, right?
Right.
So they have a massive, well, it's not their main export. It's one of the biggest. Right. But they have a massive market for voice actors.
Right.
And actresses. So they like audition, I don't know, like a crap ton of people just to do this one anime character's voice.
Right.
And
which is crazy.
They are the cream of the crop of voice acting. That's like their Broadway there. They are amazing. And you can't tell me that you like just Attack on Titan, for example, Eren Yeager's voice. It is so emotional. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, and you really just get the story. And then you go look at the American dubbed version, where we've pretty much got the same, like, 10, I don't know. I'm not going to try and name a number, but not as many people that, like,
much smaller
found themselves in this niche market of dubbing over Japanese anime, and I think they do their best, but they're not these like completely like these selected voice actors. So I'm pretty sure the person who voiced Naruto was this like 40-year-old woman, and I think they translated his catchphrase. This is what he ends every sentence with a tebayo, and they that's like a speech quirk thing that he has, but they translate it to "believe it." Like, I'm going to be the Hokage. Believe it. And it's just so cringe. It's so cringe. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not going to say that every dubbed out there is bad. And if it's going to like increase the people who are appreciating anime, all the better.
Right.
But personally, I think that everybody, if you haven't already, you need to appreciate the Japanese voice acting. Just because it's in another language doesn't mean you should write it off, because these people devote their entire lives and like to just making this character's voice and making them a real life character, and it's just so special.
Well, and I mean that goes back to appreciating like the culture and like the actual language, like the Japanese language. You know what I mean? Is in itself an art form compared to what we do.
And it's a really like a quite beautiful language, and it's not. I mean, it seems like it's really far off and crazy looking, like compared to English, but it's actually like tonality wise, it's pretty much the same. Like they'll go up at the end of their sentences when they're asking a question. And it's not like Chinese where tone is really very important. And it's pretty similarly spoken.
Yeah, and I like how they sometimes do like throw in little English phrases like "yo."
Yo yo yo. I don't know.
Hello.
Uh,
Hey.
yeah, they do really like to. They love English there.
Right.
They think it's fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not gonna say I definitely am no expert by any means, but watching anime has really taught me a lot of Japanese to the
Yeah.
point where I think I could go over there and like get by. I don't think I could read it, but I
Right.
could definitely hear it and understand. I definitely know that I could at least have a battle to the death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Arata wa kuroshimasu!
I could shout angry phrases at people and get in fights.
And
Probably.
there's a lot of curse words that I know.
Oh, yes.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
But like more than anything, I know like all the elements. I could probably even write the elements.
Really?
Yeah. Honestly, like every anime touches on elements at some
Yeah.
point.
Well, especially the Alchemist, the Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist, and no, I'm talking like fire,
Oh, okay.
earth,
Yeah.
like wind, like think about it. Well, except for like Attack on Titan, they don't really do that. But like
Right.
Naruto does it, Bleach does it,
Yeah.
One Piece does it, Demon Slayer does it. I could just go on. It's wild. But yeah, so what do you think? Have you been enjoying your dive into anime?
My dive into anime.
Do you think you would have ever done it someday?
I mean, I was always like what I had heard about anime before. Like, I was always super into film and TV in general, and I just appreciate art. You know what I mean? So what
Sure.
anime does is like allows for so many different types of art forms in one medium a lot of the time. And so I'd never really. Somebody had given me like a few different recommendations of like little ones here and there, and I like watched the first one or two and just was like not into it. But I always like I wanted somebody to like introduce me into it.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's nice to have a guide, like
definitely,
especially if you're gonna try and listen to it in Japanese. I feel like the first time that I did it in Japanese, I felt like a little bit like a huge giant nerd,
yeah,
but like it's just the best way,
yeah.
in my humble opinion.
Did you have a guide?
Did I have a guide? So yes and no. So I watched Naruto. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then my one friend was like, "You will really like Naruto," but we watched it dubbed
Yeah,
together, and I was like, "You're right. I love this shit. This is exactly what I want." And then it just came down to my own impatience because they were not the English dub was behind the sub.
Oh, really?
So I was like, I need more of this. So I'm going to go into the subbed, and then I ran out of subbed, so I went into reading the manga.
right.
So yeah, I'll chalk it up to
It
me.
definitely did help
to
to
me
have
being
you there to kinda,
addicted.
like, well, and the way that they like unveil stories in anime usually they're personally a little overly complex. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's why sometimes it's hard for me to get into something when, the coolest parts that I found, like I said, was like the art styles that they're able to use within anime. Especially like within Attack on Titan when they have those little scenes where it like shows like the strategy, like the war strategy that they're doing, or like the map of what it's like. Here's what we could tell you, and like you're like, what? They just throw that in the middle of a
In the middle of a thing that you have to pause and read.
yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah, no, it's just like
Well, that's what I liked about reading the manga too. Is like you
Yeah.
can take in those kind of details, and those are put in like little panels in the corner. Sometimes, even if I've watched an entire manga from start to finish, I'll sometimes go and read the manga anyway.
right. Yeah, well, and so what's cool about that is like how much they've been able to do with going back to like with how the production value of Disney was so much better that they were able to focus on the movements of people and everything, whereas production value in anime they didn't have a lot, but they could focus more on the still frames and the details of the people and how all the characters, sometimes they have big eyes, sometimes they have like small eyes, they have different features, and they're just all very unique looking.
Yeah.
And the way that battles are made, with you have to create like a sense of action in a still frame,
Yeah.
which is insane,
It's wild. Oh my gosh. It just gives me goosebumps thinking about like some of the epic battles that have happened over the years. And the soundtracks, they just go in.
Yeah.
And you can tell. And it's also funny sometimes because you can tell like when they've been saving up the budget for this big epic battle that they knew was coming, and you're just like, why does this look so chintzy right now? Like, and it's because next episode it's like a massive plot twist. It's fun,
and they want to make it detailed.
Exactly, they do that a lot in Attack on Titan. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, that is fun. That's cool. That's what I'm saying. But they're using the resources that they have, and like it's really not that different. Like even the chintzy looking ones, you're like, you can like it blends in. Like I didn't really.
I mean, some people are really experts at that. They're like, oh my gosh, that was like 2 frames per thingamabob, and I'm like, okay, it looks fine to me. But sometimes it's like I think there's even memes about like Boruto, the next generation of Naruto. There's been like stills taken from like epic fights where somebody's like hand is like like and it's just like making the craziest face ever, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Got the point across, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like I said, that the art styles have really like kind of drawn me in, and the things that they're able to do with that. But yeah, I mean, and then the other thing, which again we kind of touched on a little bit, was what I didn't know, but like the Weeb, so it was originally Weaponese, and
News
stands
to
for
me.
White Individuals Who Want to Be Japanese. That's what. That's
I feel
where
very
Weeb
attacked.
came from. yeah, it's definitely a certain
Well,
culture.
how would I not want to at least visit Japan? Like,
Right.
come on, like you watch these anime, and you learn so much about Japanese culture. Like, even if the actual story doesn't take place in Japan, and then you watch something like Bleach, where it actually does take place in Japan. I think the actual town that they're in is fictional, but it's based off of Japan.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, I'm trying to go see that.
Right.
Like it's really quite beautiful. Like Demon Slayer, for example, like all the temples and the beautiful mountain landscapes and hot springs. They love their hot springs. It just looks so beautiful and relaxing. So I can accept. I don't want to be Japanese,
Right.
but I would love to go there and spend a good extended period of time and really just see, because I feel like I've also just kind of made my own piecewise assumption about what that country is like just based off of anime, and I would like to see it with my own eyes.
If it actually compares.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure anime is maybe an idealized version of it.
I mean, they have maid cafes. Have you heard of the maid cafes?
No, what is maid cafe?
Like, so they have cafes where there like are cute girls that are dressed up in maid costumes, and they serve, coffee, tea, and stuff, and they're super kawaii desu.
Oh.
All that stuff. They're
Something you'd be really interested in, Kevin.
I want to be one of those maids. Like, senpai,
Okay.
do you want more coffee?
I would love some more coffee, actually.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's funny though. Yeah, the only other thing that I had, which I thought was hilarious, was that in July of 2020, Panchaleas maybe celebrated in Congress. That's her name. It was in Brazilian Congress. She celebrated the raise of the retirement withdrawal amount by running around with the anime run in Congress.
No, dead ass. Sometimes I will see Facebook events that get like passed to me, or I'll just come across to them. It's like an organized Naruto run down like, I don't know.
Just an organized Naruto run.
Down like JFK Boulevard, like, and then everybody has to meet up there at a certain time, and they just do it, and then they disperse.
Yeah.
It's chaotic as hell, and I love that.
Have you met friends just through liking an anime so much, and like going to conventions and things like that?
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's not like I've gone into online communities and met people that way,
Right.
but definitely I had a good solid group of high school friends that was super into it. And like I said, we went to Otakon, and I think there's another one in Washington DC called Katsucon. That was really fun. I did the cosplay, did the whole thing. It was a great time. I really loved it, and like they sell all sorts of art down there, and they hold these panels which are really fun. Like I learned a little bit about the history, like the Astro Boy thing,
Yeah.
but then then when darkness rolls around, that's when things get really crazy.
Oh yeah.
Well, they have like dance parties and like laser raves and all that nonsense
that's
and
cool.
games. But also, I went to a hentai panel.
Okay.
And that was fun.
Yes.
That was interesting.
So a part of anime is the otaku and the hentai.
Well, otaku just means like
Adult.
no.
What?
So
I actually wrote this down. Otaku means.
an otaku is just like a person.
Oh,
who,
it's ecchi. Ecchi is naughty. Is what I
Yes.
was talking about.
But
hentai means pervert.
yeah, like
That's crazy.
yeah. So otaku is just like an anime nerd, pretty much.
Okay.
Like it's interchangeable. Like I would say that's the Japanese version for weeb.
Of a weeb.
Yeah. But except not white. But yeah, there's hentai is anime porn,
Right.
which I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot, especially in like the shonen anime. They love their titties. They make their like female characters have massive boobs, and like there's a lot of fan service, and it's just sometimes it can be a lot, and it's a little bit of a turnoff for me.
Yeah, fan service is almost even an anime exclusive term.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Oh yeah, they know that there are young boys that are watching their show that are like, oh, I like girls. I like big titties. Let's combine these two. And then like in the middle of the fight, the girl character like will be battling or whatever, and then her top will rip, and she's like, oh my top.
Yeah.
Like it's just like can we just see a battle? That's what I like about Attack on Titan is because they don't pull that shit.
Yeah.
They're just like they have their girls just fight. I mean, sure, like maybe a little titty every once in a while,
Maybe
but like
just a
not
little
nothing
titty.
crazy.
Right.
Anyway, I digress. So I went to a hentai panel in Katsugan, where like the panel leader's goal was to make as many people leave the panel as possible with the content that she showed us, and it really worked for some people. There is some haunted, rotted shit
Oh no.
that is out there. Like, I'm talking bestiality.
Oh.
I'm talking tentacles. I'm talking fairy porn. Like it was wild. I don't
Yeah.
even want to go into detail because I still wake up at night thinking about it.
You don't want to scar everybody
I'm
else.
also a little bit turned on though.
A little
So
bit.
it's confusing.
And that's the hardest part about
Yeah,
these things.
very hard.
Is that it's like, dude, I don't want to look, but I have to. I can't.
I'll leave
Like
you
a
with
car
this.
crash.
There is a steel horsecock, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Holy shit.
Steel.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it was something. And like, I don't know. I would definitely go. I had to leave like the panel for like something else, but I really wanted to stay. I felt so weak having to get up out of the chair.
Yeah.
And all the while next to me, some guy that was dressed in an Umbreon costume gave me like, he was like, "You want a White Claw?" I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Yes, please. That's awesome. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to kind of bring it back to is like the fact that they have these conventions and you can go and like meet all these people and that you have a shared interest with is like really cool. You know,
Yeah,
it
and I
brings that
mean, I
community
feel like
together.
that community is also just really open, welcoming, accepting. Anime lovers are super nice people. They're just like the nerdiest, like Dungeons and Dragony type people, and they just really love it, and
Right.
it's really fun, and they're just like giant dorks that are like doing an organized line dance and like flossing on the dance floor, like,
yeah.
like wearing like fucking Pikachu ears.
Right.
It's adorable.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it comes back to what we were talking about. How like it's when you're young and you feel like you have to have an insecurity about something that you really enjoy. It's really nice to meet other people that enjoy that, and
Yeah.
so you're allowed to be passionate around these other people and really be just like naturally ecstatic about the thing that you love. And it's just
Yeah.
like that's an amazing community. That's amazing. They give you a place to foster that love.
Exactly, and it's been making me really happy lately because I think people are less afraid to embrace it.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of friends that I've grown up with that at first were like, it's not for me.
Right.
Ask me for Rex.
Right.
And I'm like, I knew you would turn.
Yeah, I knew you would turn to the dark side. No, well, and that's the other thing I wanted to say about anime, that it really is like, you can actually lose yourself into it. It's each show is a lore in itself.
Yeah, there's a
And you can
lot of
look at
world
the
building.
manga world building and just the complex stories and everything. So for some people that is a lot, and that's why I understand people that maybe are a little averse to it, and like because it is a lot.
There's all, like I said, it's an art form. There's something for everybody in
Yeah,
it. There's
that's true.
there's the fast, and I wanted to touch on this a little bit too. There's like the fast paced stuff like Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. I would even consider to be a little bit more fast paced as well. Then you've got the slow grinds like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, and then there's even some like Cowboy Bebop, for example, is one that people really love. It's very aesthetic,
Yeah.
and it's really beautiful. I think, yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion is kind of like that too, just very 90s. Like, so you can go there for art, you can go there for story, you can go there for action, you can go there for perviness. Like,
Right.
there's a little bit of everything. It just really depends, and that's why it's important to have that guide,
Yeah.
because they'll know what you like, and they'll know what you would identify with. And I think everybody could probably find an anime that they liked.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one thing that I wanted my part to be, is that in this conversation that, I was a person that was averse to it for a while, and it took me a while to actually get into even Demon Slayer when we were watching it, but by the end it's like, okay, now I'm like into it.
I was the same way.
Right. Yeah. And then, and now that I've gotten through kind of one of these grandiose big stories, then it's a lot easier for me to appreciate like a One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Or like, kind of a fun, goofy one, or like a
You're flying on your own now.
Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is so good. I love Chainsaw Man.
It's so wild.
All right, guys, get this. It's a man that's also a chainsaw.
That's what I'm saying. Anime is moving in this meta direction where they're just like, this is the most absurd title,
Yeah.
but it's all we really need, and I
Yeah.
love that for them.
Yeah,
Good for
because
them.
there's still so much heart in it. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
still so much like to it that can draw you in, and it's
It's
just beautiful.
it's a
amazing.
good one,
Yeah.
and I recommend it
Yeah.
to everybody.
Should
Like, the
see.
main character's literal goal in life is to touch boobs.
Yeah. That's his only goal. But the thing is, the whole point is like, why is his goal? Like, he grew up in poverty and debt, and all he wanted to do was be with a woman. You know what I mean? That's it. He was like 16, 17, and it's like that's what you think about when you're young, and like if your Maslow's hierarchy is not being fulfilled, you know what I mean? If that's all you
Sure.
could think about, and then
The psychology of touching titties.
yeah, but like, why is his goal any less valuable than anybody else's?
It's not.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, it's funny.
Because he's still doing the noble actions. It is funny. That's what I love about it. But yeah, I guess I did want to end with how all the intros and songs are like K-pop
Oh,
or like
my God.
J-pop.
Hey, there are some, like, AJ and I have a Spotify playlist that is pop punk and anime openings, and the
Anime
two
op-
go together swimmingly.
Yeah, I don't know who decided on that, but I love it. Like the fact that dude, Chainsaw Man, the opening gets me so pumped.
Well, I'm also, like I said, anime is a big export, and so they have to have their top musicians
Oh,
in on
yeah.
that anime.
Right, and they create it for
And
the show,
Exactly.
which is interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, some of my, I don't even know if I know any Japanese artists that like are not from anime openings,
Right.
and that's my problem. But still, it is. They really go hard because they're like, oh shit, we got this gig in an anime opening.
Yeah.
Let's go off.
Yeah,
And so
yeah. So
they do.
Kevin, as an anime fan and everything, I want to thank you for coming out. Follow him at Kelso on
Yeah.
Instagram. He's also in Philly Accents. You got a
Oh yes, I do music direct an a cappella group in the city. And maybe someday we'll talk about music or something like that. I have a lot of interests.
right. But when's the concert? If you want people. To come out for that?
If you're in the Philadelphia area or can make the trek, we're going to be at the Settlement Music School on May 13th at 7 p.m. And you can find all those details at Philly Accents on Instagram or on our Facebook page as well.
All right. And so, as a singer, can you do a J-pop song or an impression or a cover of one of these songs for us, please?
Well, I gotta think which one is. Hang on. Bear with me.
I will. Yeah, we could. Yeah.
Please hold. Well, here's one that I remember from the end of Naruto. I think I have the Japanese right, so don't come for me, but also come for me if you want. Yura yura to yuganda sora e kimi no koto e tonde yuke. Yura yura to yuganda sora e kimi no koto e tonde yuke. Yura yura to yuganda sora e kimi no koto e tonde yuke.
Yes!
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. That was a good one. I think we got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Do a little mic
hopefully I can get home safely from this massive commute. The stairs are tricky.
Oh, you came out so far for this. I really appreciate this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't expect it
You
to
have a
ever
lovely
happen.
basement, Kelso. It's terrible. Don't
Yeah.
look over there.
Yeah, don't you pan that camera.
Don't you ban
You'll
that
see all
camera.
my sins. Yuganda sora e kimi no koto